So there were some protesters in Cincinnati over the weekend. Peaceful protesters, I might add, made up of grandmothers. And J.D. Vance is giving a very different account from what took place that day compared to the protesters. So there was a group of Ukrainian demonstrators that gathered over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, at the bottom of the hill at the intersection of Columbia Parkway, William Howard Taft Road, and Torrance Parkway, which is a few blocks away from where J.D. Vance has a home with his family. They held signs saying, J.D. Vance, Ukraine's kids are way more scared than yours, which I would tend to agree with. J.D. Vance, have you no shame? Good question. Ohio supports Ukraine. Okay, nothing wrong with that. I actually agree with that sentiment, by the way. So J.D. Vance was walking around the neighborhood on Saturday. He knew he would run into these people. He didn't have to walk around the neighborhood. I believe it was intentional. And he happened to be walking with his 3-year-old daughter. Before I get to some video, I want to play you the way J.D. Vance said it went down because he's a liar. He said, today, while walking with my 3-year-old daughter, a group of Slava Ukrainian protesters followed us around and shouted at my daughter. But he described the conversation as mostly respectful. And he said, if you're chasing a 3-year-old as part of a political protest, you're a blank person. Well, you see, ladies and gentlemen, that didn't happen. And J.D. Vance is the new Jussie Smollett of the right because J.D. Vance lied. There was nobody chasing his daughter. There was nobody screaming at his daughter. There is no evidence to back that up. In fact, all the video that is surfaced is quite to the contrary. Nobody was shouting at his daughter. Nobody was following his daughter. Nobody was stalking anybody. In fact, J.D. Vance addressed them and walked up to them and engaged them. This is part of the video where somebody in the small group of grandmothers, because that's really what they were. They were older people, grandmothers, some of them, that were interacting with J.D. Vance. And one of them says, you know, you called Donald Trump the next Adolf Hitler. What's your response to that? And this is a little bit of the video that I'm going to play for you. Again, nobody's shouting his daughter. Nobody's stalking his daughter. That was a complete lie. Have a listen and watch this.
That is the policy of the administration. And I've talked to you guys now for about 5 minutes.
America's Hitler.
And what changed? Man, now that's a different question. I'm happy. Would you like me to talk about how I've changed my view on Donald Trump from 10 years ago? Because I talked about it a lot during the campaign, and then the American people voted and made
you've got some integrity in our leaders. That's what we want. Some integrity in our leaders. That's what I expect my kids.
It must be nice to go through life and assume that everybody who disagrees with you has no integrity. I have more respect for you. But ma'am, look at my 3-year-old daughter now, and I told you, I talked to you for 5 minutes, and now
yeah, you need to explain to her why people are
yelling at you. 3-year-old to have people run around and yell at her. And I did talk to you, and I said, if I talk to you for a few minutes, will you leave my 3-year-old daughter alone? And you said yes. So I'd like you guys to respect that. Okay. Thank you all.
All right, so notice how he doesn't want to answer the questions, and he plays the victim, the Jussie Smollett victim. So nobody was shouting at him. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but did you guys hear anybody shouting at him? Did you guys see anybody? And by the way, they showed respect and they left him alone after that. He's the one who decided to engage with them. And he called them, you're a blank person. You're a crap person. He used another word that I can't say on the air. Because J.D. Vance is a liar. And he plays victim. I'm wondering, think about this for a moment. Those were some peaceful grandmothers that J.D. Vance got his pantyhose in a bind and his eyeliner. J.D. Vance couldn't handle that. A little bit of pushback from some, what I would consider respectful people that are, by the way, on the right side of history. But J.D. Vance couldn't handle that. So he got so upset that there were some people that were challenging him in a respectful way. Nobody was screaming at him. Nobody was chasing him down. Nobody was yelling at his daughter. Those are lies. Because J.D. Vance is a liar. So if he can't handle that, how does he think Mike Pence felt when people were screaming out, hang Mike Pence on January 6th? If J.D. Vance can't handle a few peaceful grandmothers protesting, but he has no problem. Has J.D. Vance called out Vladimir Putin for those airstrikes over, several days ago that killed 26 people, including children? But J.D. Vance is concerned about his 3-year-old daughter because a couple of grandmothers want to talk to J.D. Vance and disagree with him on Ukraine. Think about that for a moment. Think about that. So in closing, these were not crappy people. They were not chasing down his 3-year-old daughter. That's a lie. Jussie Smollett 2.0 with J.D. Vance. That's who he is, minus the eyeliner. These were decent human beings and decent people that care about the innocent people in Ukraine and what's going on there. And the way the Donald Trump administration is handling it is pathetic. It's embarrassing. It's dangerous. And innocent people are dying. Make no mistake about it, because of Donald Trump withholding aid and even intelligence. This is what J.D. Vance signed up for when he wanted to be Donald Trump's vice president or he wanted to enter politics. You're going to get criticism. Just like when I knew I got into radio, there'd be haters out there. And I laugh at them. But J.D. Vance could have gotten in his car with his 3-year-old daughter if he didn't want to interact with them. And by the way, J.D. Vance was not obligated to interact with them. He decided to. There was no screaming. There was no yelling. There was no stalking. There was nobody chasing down his 3-year-old daughter. J.D. Vance, you are a liar and you are a pathetic loser is what you are.